Welcome everyone to Gotham City Bulletin. As always, I am subject. We have Noah, Vic here.
Oh no.
You're Mr. Freeze.
But well, we won't get into spoilers again.
And we've got Noah, that weird, or Robert, that weird doctor guy from us Arkham Wild. I don't remember.
I'll
his name.
take it.
That was supposed to be Scarecrow, apparently.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it.
So we're here to talk about the Penguin, primarily focusing on the last two episodes. If there's anything you guys want to bring up from previous episodes, feel free. However, before we start, just an important announcement we have said in the last couple streams. This channel will be going on hiatus after this video, but you can catch Robert, Noah, and I over on Haven of Horror. If Noah ever deems to show up again. No, just kidding. Just kidding, Noah. I know you're busy.
I know.
But catch us over there. And let's start with episode 7. Noah, go. Talk about episode 7.
Episode 7. So, this is the episode where we learn what happened to Oz's brothers, because it's something that they've been talking about and mentioning throughout the season, but we don't really know what exactly happened. But episode 7 begins with an extended flashback scene of Oz and his brothers. And Oz is a very... he wants all of his mom's attention to himself, basically. So, and one day they end up going out to play flashlight tag in some sort of like abandoned area where like it's easily flooded when it's raining a lot. And Oz ends up leaving his brothers to drown there. I guess because he feels a little bit slighted for some reason. But yeah, that's kind of a big piece of information that we learn about him and how it shapes the person who he is today.
Yeah, no, he's just a fucking like sociopath from day one. It's awesome.
From day one. Yeah.
Robert, what was your impressions with this episode?
A very good and very shocking, and I think justified holding off on that flashback for that long. Because in a lot of other shows, especially streaming shows, it's like you didn't need to hold off. Like, just give us this information up front. Why'd you do that? This recontextualizes the whole thing you've watched. I understand waiting this long because it's like, oh yeah, he was just always kind of a monster. and
really
you
has
take
it out for streaming shows. It's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad
shut
ones
up about them during Ash vs. Evil Dead. He kept going on and on about how, in this show this does this, but in a streaming show, it's very strange.
Yep. And and I will say I don't think little Oz was deliberately murdering his brothers. It's more that he just locked them in there and then did nothing about it. That's at least how I read it.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't think he was thinking about like the rain in that moment when he locked them in. That's just all I mean.
So I think what it is he's acting impulsively, which we've seen him do in the show many times before. So he kind of just made a snap decision there. And you're right, I don't think he was thinking, yeah, I'm going to drown my brothers now. But it's one of those things where as the night goes on, you can see him like looking out the window and like kind of, hoping, what I read as hoping that his brothers would actually come back or just, checking on it a bit. But as the night goes on, you can see he is actually, he finds that he's actually more and more okay with his brothers not showing up because he gets to spend more time with his mom.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the episode called Top Hat, which isn't really a reference to how Penguin wears the top hat in the comics. It's a reference to the movie that they watch, the Fred Astaire movie.
What that was?
Yeah. But we do get the top hat later. Spoilers.
That's true.
How good is that kid playing little Oz?
He's great.
Very good. Very good.
And I was also really impressed with the mom, the younger mom. because when we're just hearing her voice, like when we don't really get a good look at her, I just thought it was the same actress, and then we see her face, and I was like, oh shit, wait, no, we recast. Like I thought she was spot on.
Yeah, no, and they have such a weird relationship. Like
Yep.
he's obsessed with her to an unhealthy kind of creepy degree, and they'll really
Hmm.
cement that in the finale, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think about the present day stuff?
It
I thought
was
a lot.
good.
Don't
Yeah, I
everybody
thought a
speak
lot
up
of
at
it.
once.
I know. So, I'm trying to remember a lot because I only had time to rewatch the last episode. But yeah, so this is the one where right after the flashback, Sal attacks Oz in the apartment after Sophia kidnaps Francis.
Mhm.
So actually, yeah. So this was like the last big Sal episode. This is the one where he dies later. What did you guys think of how he exited the show? Was that well handled, or was it kind of like a Deus
It was
Ex Machina?
fine. It kind of continues that thing where Penguin is either extremely unlucky or extremely lucky, and I can't tell which. Um, but I was hoping they maybe kept him around, and I would have liked to see Clancy Brown in the next movie.
Yeah, for sure. I was disappointed, but also glad that Clancy Brown was in this show as much as he was. You know, it's not just a cameo; he's not just in a couple episodes. They do use him a lot, especially in this episode. So that was nice, and it's one of those things where you could say, "Oh, it's anticlimactic," but that's also the point. It works thematically, and it
Yeah,
works for Oz's character because that victory is taken from him. He we then see him kind of deteriorate and lash out and start shooting him and starts yelling at him like he's trying everything
yeah.
in his power to make the moment his own. Like, I defeated you, Sal. I killed Sal Maroni. And
Did,
we're like, no, you didn't.
I love that part where he goes off on his dead body. And did you guys also think of the Batman, the car chase scene where he goes, "I
Yes.
got you"? Yeah.
Mhm.
Always a little premature with the Declaration of Victory.
Yep.
But I will say, as much as I would have loved to see Sal stick around, that choice is worth it for where we go with Sophia in the finale and very important plot stuff that has to happen surrounding that. So by the end, I'm won over on it. It works.
Yeah, no, I don't have a lot of complaints with this episode, but I also don't remember it. It's been a couple weeks. Anime fan, I felt disappointed that Carmine's sympathetic traits from the comics aren't in the Batman or the Penguin. Salva feels more like the comics version of Carmine.
I guess with his more of a focus on family.
Yeah, I mean, like that's
And
fair. He's not the same Carmine from specifically Long Halloween, but that's at least been consistent. It was established with the Batman, whether you like it or not. That no, this Carmine is a sociopath. Like this is an evil guy, and I think it works for the crime story they've been telling.
Yeah, but I mean, you still get the family stuff. I'd argue that he's. Wait, Carmine. No, sorry. I'm
no,
thinking
with
of Sal
Sal.
Maroni.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
Sal
wasn't thinking
is
it
the
was.
one. Sal's
Maroni's
the
the
one
more
that.
sympathetic of the two.
Yeah, he's the more sympathetic. He's the one that values family and
Yeah, so I'm
actually
fine with that. I
has
don't need both of them to be sympathetic
right.
family.
And I'd
N-
still argue that Carmine is in the comics still a shitty father. That one just has, I don't know, you feel like he thinks he's doing the right thing.
He has more of a
Where,
code than this Carmine, who's will step on anyone
very
to
evil.
get where he is. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I like their Carmine. That's what I like about the show is just we finally got just a bunch of comic book villains that are just evil because they're evil. It's not,
Yes.
oh, this is my like super tragic backstory, and this is why I'm actually right, but I'm going about this the wrong way. It's no, these people are bastards.
Yep. And I
How do you
mean,
guys feel about Sophia and his mom? Because I really like that dynamic.
oh yeah, their scenes are great.
Yeah, yeah. I find I think I find myself not,
Are you caught up with
you
us,
know,
Noah?
no, I'm just I find myself wanting to talk about the finale a lot with that too, because there's that great scene where at the beginning where they have his mom and trying to get Oz to admit that he killed his brothers, and she's just like, "Yeah, I knew this whole time."
So, funny story about that. I didn't remember this episode 7, like, I watched that. So, it's like, oh, are we playing with, like, unreliable narrator? And Austin had to point out, no, we saw that happen. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Come on,
Yeah.
John.
I don't know what's happening in this season of television.
Well, and episode 7 though is also important for Sophia's story because that I think is also the one when I guess it's her cousin or her niece or probably her cousin, the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
They catch
Yeah.
wind is going to talk to the police and say something, and she goes to confront her and initially lies and tries to spin this other story, and then we see it like finally occur to Sophia, like, oh fuck, I am fucking up this kid's life and doing to her what's been done to me. And then she breaks
another me.
I'm creating another me, and then she does something that you could interpret as really stupid, but from her perspective, it's like, oh no, now I'm gonna actually be on this with this kid and say that I killed them, and it tracks later when we find out her realization by the end of episode 7 is. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Is by the end of episode 7 of, yeah, maybe I don't want to be a crime lord. Maybe I should just fucking go. Like her realization is, oh, I'm still trapped. Like I may be on top, but I'm still in the same cycle that my dad put me in. Fuck it, I'm gonna burn. And I really like the way we paid that off in the finale of, no, I'm gonna burn this all down and fucking go. But first I gotta kill that fucking Oz guy, which is maybe her undoing.
Yeah.
But how did you guys feel about that turn for Sophia's character?
I love
her character so much. I can't wait to see what they do with her in the Batman 2.
She didn't die.
She didn't die. Arguably a fate worse than death.
Worse than death.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
I did not see that coming. Now we're just jumping all over the place, but it's fine.
I kind of did, because
we'll review
been a
these
lot
2
more
episodes together.
out that she was going to have a role in the Batman Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Which, that's one thing I like about this universe so far is we have reoccurring villains and, like, smartly used. I like the Nolan movies. Scarecrow is terrible after that first movie. He's just there for the laughs.
Well, and he's more just glorified cameos.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's just like, that's the only reoccurring villain we get in any of these live action Batman movies, and it's a glorified cameo that's played as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the Batman, all the villains live except for Carmine, who dies in a very similar way he died in the comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I was never completely sure that we would see Sophia in the Batman Part 2. I don't know, I haven't read any leaks or heard any rumors about that or anything, but to me, where we left off with her in the show didn't necessarily imply that we'd see her in the second movie. I was thinking maybe it would be like another show or another season of this.
I can't predict where we're going, so I have no idea.
I mean, I would like to see her in the next movie. I want to see her interact with Batman. I'm just not sure that that's a given from that last scene.
So I'm going to fight you a little bit on that, but for a second. But I want to say also, I agree with Robert. I thought this show would give us maybe more of a clear sign of where we were going. I'm just as lost as I was before the show came in.
Yeah,
however,
that's how I felt.
I want to address the elephant in the room. Has anybody else read about this? When he in the finale, when he's in the courthouse or whatever, and all of the curtains are shaped like owls.
Yeah,
people are running wild with it. What do you guys think the odds are that it is the Court of Owls?
I think it's very likely.
I think I'm so torn. I think it's as likely as it was before the first movie came out. Because that's one of the first things people started speculating on. And in that first movie, if you remember, the very first riddle we get in that birthday card or whatever is an owl. And that was in the trailer, and everybody was like, oh my god, Court of Owls. So I think this could be an Easter egg as much as that was. And with that first movie, because it was all about corruption and the secrets and the side of Gotham, but there's no Court of Owls setup besides Easter eggs. I'm not willing to say yet, oh, that's what we're doing in the next movie. It could be, but I'm in the camp currently of I think it's still just an Easter egg. I don't think we're going to literally do Court of Owls, but I could be wrong. I'm not. My meter on maybe the Batman 2 is Court of Owls. Like, it hasn't gone up or lower. It's still like, yeah, maybe.
And I
That's
think that the fact that we keep getting Easter eggs to them means that Reeves at least has some idea of what to do with them in the future, whether or not be in the very next movie or in something else. But I do think it is very likely that we see the court in this continuity somewhere.
I will be disappointed if that's the very next thing we do, when our last Batman movie was also a big secret conspiracy amongst the rich and elite.
Yeah.
And you're gonna set, because we know that Batman 2 is gonna be like in the winter time, because this season ends in the winter time, right? That's gonna pick up because
I think so.
They said it'll be a winter. You're gonna give me a flooded Gotham in winter with no Mr. Freeze. This is, of course, all in speculation, but I'm just.
Well, they killed him.
Oh, spoilers!
That was the setup. He's cold now, Noah. He's cold, like Mr. Freeze. Okay.
So they have to resurrect the suit keeps him alive.
Anime fan says that he thinks Sophia's already had more screen time than she needs. I strongly disagree. Give her all the screen time. She's amazing. Top 5 her and Penguin in this are top 5 like Batman villain castings.
So I keep going back and forth. I think by the end, Oz is still my favorite character, but I was really considering, maybe it is Sophia. Do you guys prefer one over the other?
I prefer Oz, but he's more, I guess, entertaining, where she's more interesting.
Yeah. She's more tragic.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah.
And I like the Penguin, and I've been waiting 30 years for a good live-action Penguin.
This is the best live-action Penguin. As someone who loves the Danny DeVito Penguin, this is more Penguin. So
yeah, it's actually the character.
Yeah,
shocking how that happens.
But anyway.
So anyway, no.
Well, that guy's name was Oscar Cobblepot. This is Oscar.
To argue with you for the Batman 2, there is no way that you have her get a letter from Selena Kyle and not have that be a plot point in your next movie. That's how you get Selena back in for your sequel.
Well, I don't even know for sure if we know Selena's going to be in the sequel.
I think they've said that. And this was a while ago, but I want to say Zoe Kravitz or somebody said, yeah, I'm coming back for the second one.
See, I don't know, but that cliffhanger for Sophia tells me, as of right now, they are writing it with the anticipation that she's coming back.
The only thing disappointing about that, and I've always said, I don't need Catwoman in the Batman 2. I would have preferred giving her own spin-off first.
Yes.
As like a miniseries or a movie, like out of Gotham, and explore more of the world and see what she's like on her own. It's a little disappointing that, hypothetically, when she leaves Batman at the end of that first movie, she's back in like a couple weeks. Right. Like that's a little disappointing, but this is their excuse to put her back in Gotham. So I do think that's the way in. Right. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she's confirmed before. Oh yeah, I'm going to be in the Batman too. Like I think that's confirmed. So this is their way to.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Bring her back to Gotham.
I will say though, I really hope if she is back, we just get a Catwoman suit. Enough with this prototype.
Yeah.
I like the suit. I need a new mask. I need a real Catwoman. It's just the mask.
An actual Catwoman mask.
Yeah.
But it's more grounded, John.
That is one thing I am still worried about with this universe. Just give me. I don't need Gentleman Ghosts.
Right.
Clayface, Mr. Freeze, something.
Yeah, you kind of get Clayface in the finale.
Oh,
kind of.
I know we're all over the place, but now that you brought up Clayface, this is something I didn't think about until recently watching the show. Is that I don't think we're gonna actually get Clayface in this universe now that we have Eve, because I think Eve really is just a different take on Clayface when you think about it. With the whole aspect of her job having to like dress up and like
play different roles.
Play different roles for people, which is what you see in the last scene. So because we have her, I don't think we're actually going to get
Really is
any
just a different
version
take on
Clayface.
Clayface.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think if we get actual Clayface, it'll probably be like you'll probably be called like McHagan or something. They might do that. Like Eve could be that's our homage to Carlo. That's kind of our spin on that. But now here's actual Clayface. I still think that's in the cards.
And if they were to do that, he wouldn't have to be an actor like the animated series Matt Hagen Clayface. It'd have to be like a different take.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Clayfaces. There's no shortage.
Clayface is a character I admittedly am not that familiar with outside of like the modern version. But yeah, since we're jumping all over the place, what did you guys think of seeing the top hat finally?
I wish we got to see him wear it, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, at least he's holding it.
It kind of continues the one negative I have with this is we have to reference comic book stuff, but we're not going to actually do comic book stuff. Oh, he can't be Oswald Cobblepot because that's too silly. Oh, he can't wear the top hat. Oh, he can't have the umbrella.
And to be fair, we're talking about the last 5 minutes of the show. We've yet to see what his wardrobe looks like in the next movie or in season 2.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
Yeah.
The Batman 2. If you were going to do that, you would do it in the show.
I mean, I would love to see the first time he appears in the Batman 2, he comes out in like full Burgess Meredith cosplay with like the cigarette and everything.
I think he will just continue to wear what he's worn in the show, and it's going to be the same thing as it's just going to be Nolan again, where we have to gritify ground these superhero costumes because even though our protagonist is wearing armor that's shaped like a bat, we can't have a guy in a top hat and a monocle running around for some reason.
Yeah, because Cobblepot isn't a real name. We can't have that.
Yeah. Oz Cobb it's the dumbest thing.
I think I'm fine with it for this version because Cobblepot doesn't sound like an Italian gangster. But I do see what you're saying, John. It is something I've always had mixed feelings about with this universe.
It's not a problem at the end of the day because the writing is good. I am getting a Batman take that I wanted. It's just for everything that he does right, then he'll do something like, are we back in like 2005? Is it like?
Well, and to be fair, we're talking more about comments and not finished products. You know, we're just starving for stuff because the movie came out 2.5 years ago, and all we have to go off on are these vague comments.
Before people in the comments come at me, I could have all of this solved with the Batman Part 2. It's just a lot of the comments that I've been seeing lately tells me that they are looking at this the wrong way. And we're going to get another Nolan-esque trilogy where everything has to be grounded and gritty and realistic. Not realistic, but you know what I mean.
Well, I actually think that this show cements that we will be getting something like that. But at this point, I'm okay with it. I've accepted it. Especially, and I've talked about this on stream before, especially because we know in the James Gunn universe, there's going to be a Batman movie. I feel like that's going to be a lot more comic booky. Mm-hmm. So, you know, as long as we have both versions.
Then I'll be fine. But until then, I'm going to complain because it's silly.
But back to the show.
I just want good stories and villains we haven't seen in movies before, which is part of why Sophia stands out so much. Because, hey, this is someone we haven't seen in one of these shows or movies before, and she's really compelling and interesting.
Yeah.
Well, she's in the Long Halloween animated movie.
She's in Gotham.
And she's in Gotham. I haven't seen that.
Oh. Let's not talk about Gotham.
Come on.
No, but that's actually jumping off of that. You can't accuse Matt Reeves and the people who worked on this show for not knowing comics or not being comic fans because they are pulling from stuff that we don't usually pull from.
No,
even
I
with
mean, I don't disagree.
even with
But I
Long
think
Halloween.
that makes it
Yeah.
almost more frustrating that they don't seem to want to do comic-y out there stuff. Because you can't
Yeah,
tell me
I mean,
that this is just because James Gunn is making his own DCU Batman. Like this had to have been the plan, at least from the time that first movie wrapped.
well, yeah, it was always it's they have a take and they're going with directions that work for that take. It's I don't think the plan was to have two different versions of Batman on screen together. I just
Right.
think this is how it's working out right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, uh,
It'll be
lost
interesting
my.
though to see what the public thinks of Gunn's Batman, because we've had so much just street level grounded like gritty Batman at this point. I'm fascinated to see how a general audience that reacts to like a comic booky out there Batman.
Yeah, I really hope it's kind of like the tone of the Brave and the Bold show. I don't think it will be exactly, but that's what I
I
want.
hope not.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I love that show.
But I mean, like I said, and this show does, have stuff like the made up drug and the doctor's
Yeah.
weird hypnosis device. Like we're still sneaking in some little sci-fi elements like that. And now to segue, this would be a good time to talk about the what's his name, Julian Rush, her doctor.
Julian Rush.
John mentioned it earlier. All the stuff that's come out about that. If we want to talk about that for a minute.
I don't know why you would have. I didn't read into it a whole lot, so you can fill me in. Why would you change it? That would be you're out to do like a cool comic book villain and build on some of those more sci-fi elements that you've introduced here.
Well, see, when I heard that, I was kind of glad that they didn't make him Jonathan Crane because I wouldn't want Jonathan Crane to be this weird, lame character that we have. I am not a fan of Julian Rush. I think I've talked about it before in the other videos. Yeah, I just think he's a really underwritten, boring character.
Well, underwritten certainly, but you could fix that in a sequel.
I guess it would have been better if he was gonna be Jonathan Crane. They would have written him differently to begin with.
Or all you would have to do is just say, or all you have to do is say he confiscated that from an inmate who happens to be Jonathan Crane.
I mean, they could still do that.
They could still do that at some point,
but I don't. I just don't trust that they will.
But okay, I'm of two minds about it though, because on the one hand, the way you're interpreting it, John, is that they got cold feet and went, we don't want to do Scarecrow. That's too goofy. Let's change that. My interpretation, and I hope this is correct, is well, maybe they have bigger and more interesting plans for Scarecrow and thought, on second thought, let's not set him up here. Let's change this and save him for later. That's what I hope is going on. And to Noah's point, I think Theo Rossi is a fine actor. Like, I think he's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Julian's fine, but I wouldn't be like, fuck yeah, that guy's our Scarecrow. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's almost a relief where it's like, okay, I'm fine with this guy being whatever, and let's do Scarecrow later, and let's do Scarecrow properly and really get that right. That's what I hope is going on, but I'm not sure.
Admittedly, I didn't read the full article about like why they changed it, so you may be right. It's just all of these little things are starting to add up. Where it's like every time we get close to something that may be a little out there, it seems like we're getting cold feet. We got to change Penguin's name. Oh, we almost had Jonathan Crane. Now he's Theo. What was that guy's name?
Julian Rush.
Julian Rush.
Yeah.
Theo Rossi's the actor.
I also don't necessarily disagree about the actor, but if you had told me that Paul Dano was going to be the Riddler, I would have been like, "What?"
Oh, I was hyped for that. I thought that was perfect because Paul Dano's great.
He's great, yeah. I really hope that they do something good with Scarecrow in the future. Like, I was hoping that he would be the villain for part 2. It doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen.
The villain. Like,
I just want to know who the main villain is.
Just tell us.
Dallas.
But I
we
mean,
also got
Yes.
another Hush reference.
Oh, we
yeah, we
did?
got. Yeah, well, we got another the Elliott Bridge.
oh
We
yeah,
got
yeah.
that in this show. But
Was
this
there
is
another
they're
one?
not doing Hush.
I hope not. Like if they said Hush is the main villain, it'd be like, all right.
Yeah,
You
I
already
don't
kind of
need
did
that.
that with the Riddler, but okay.
And I
Well,
guess back to the, I mean, last word I have on like the whole like grounded conversation with this, because I just want to also try to get back to talking about the episode.
I was like, God damn it!
I just think it also just works for what this show is, because it is a gritty, grounded gangster show, and I wouldn't want to see that many sci-fi elements in specifically a Penguin show. I think elsewhere in the universe, I would like to, in like a different project set in the same universe, I'd like to see that, but not so much in this show, you know, because this is trying to be one genre, and I think something like that would make things a little strange.
Oh no, Strange Things in a Batman show?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Hugo, but
Put him in the show. That'd been cool.
Hugo Strange would be great in this universe.
He
I
could have been in
hopefully
episode
he'll
4.
show up. Hopefully he'll show up later. Um, but yeah, any other thoughts on episode 7? I guess we're still technically in episode 7 before we move on to the finale.
I think we're good. We covered everything.
All right, Robert, thoughts on the finale?
It's great. It's really heartbreaking and sad and dark and miserable and oh my god, we made a show about a villain. I haven't seen this in a while. it's
We
kind of
made a show
surprising.
about a villain and didn't forget that he's the villain, not just the protagonist.
Yep.
He's the
And
bad guy.
I think the most exciting part of that finale was just Sophia surviving and ending up in Arkham, which I did not see coming, which, like you guys said earlier, is a way worse fate than death for her after everything she's been through and as far as she came in. She could have left at any point. She had her out, but that revenge, it got to her. She had to take out Oz, and it fucked her over and got her put back in Arkham, which is a really sad, but again, just kind of twisted ending for her. And also, what I love about the dramatic irony of this is the things Oz gets her put in Arkham for. I mean, she did technically blow up that part of the city. Like that's
Yeah.
like she did get arrested for her crimes. It's some of the context was a little different, but like, yeah, Oz is right. You know, they're gonna find little bits of Sal Maroni in there, and it's all gonna trace back to her. It's like, oh, she did set off that bomb.
Yep.
You know,
Well, and that plus, she's already seen as the hangman by most of the city.
Burning her house doesn't help.
Burning her house to the ground and gassing everybody in it beforehand. You know, like there's a lot on her.
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't be upset if she did take like a hangman personality in the next movie.
And just owned it.
Well, there's moments in this season where she almost kind of uses that reputation to her advantage. Because I think it's in the first episode where her and Sal team up. You see like some bodies of like some drug dealers on the news, and I think they're all like strung up to look like it was a hangman killing. So it's like, oh, okay, she's actually using that to her advantage. Maybe she can continue doing that the next time we see her. Like, you know, like, you guys made me into this monster. I'm just gonna embrace it.
And one last thing though that we forgot to mention in episode 7 though, at the ending with the bombing, did that catch you guys off guard? Were you expecting that to be his mom in the trunk? Because that was a great scene.
Oh, so I was like,
my big thing was, okay, you may have taken this a little too big. A bomb just detonated. We're not going to see Batman.
That's fair.
Yeah. He probably went he probably went to the scene off screen when everyone left. When all the important characters were gone.
I just was never sold that Sophia was gonna kill his mom. So when that scene was happening, I was like, "Oh shit!" But the more we drew it out, I was like, "Oh wait, it might be a bomb." And then he lifts the thing, and it's a bomb. And
No,
I was like, "Oh my god!"
in that scene, what I had was I was like, oh, "Okay, wait, she probably left him like a bomb or something." And then he opens the trunk and sees like the blankets, and I'm like, "Oh wait, did she really kill his mom?" And then lifts it open, and I was like, "Oh no, I was right the first time."
And he's
Speaking of
so
fake
good in that
outs,
scene.
Speaking of fake outs,
Yeah.
the beginning of episode 8, or in episode 8, there's that scene where he's tied up and she has like the bottle. Did anybody
Mhm.
else think we were going to go full Arkham City for a minute?
No, I didn't have
Oh
that
no,
thought.
I didn't think we'd do that. That would be funny though.
No, there was a moment where I was like, oh god, like they're gonna go full Arkham City and he's gonna have that like wedge in his eye.
Yeah, we
I
need
would've
to see a
loved that.
monocle at some point.
Yeah, Colin Farrell is so freaking good in these last couple episodes. He has to go to so many places. It's really
He's
emotional stuff.
No, he's fantastic throughout the show, but in the final episode, there's like 3 big scenes that are the highlights. It's the one with his mom at the beginning, with when Sophia has her hostage, and then I'd also say the one at her hospital bed when she's become a vegetable, and then the scene where he kills Vic is just like, holy shit.
Vic caught me off guard because we speculated about it, but we were so close to the end. I kind of was like, oh, they're not going to do that. He'll carry over to the Batman 2. And then he was
Mhm.
like, family makes you weak. I was like, oh shit, here it comes.
Um,
So the cynical side of me, can I say the cynical side of me says that they did that so that you don't have to really watch this show because
we introduce the character and then
we
write him
introduce
out.
the character and then write him out. So you could skip this show entirely and just go into the Batman 2.
Well, Reeves has talked about how each project, like the first Batman, the second Batman, and this show, he wants to stand on their own. So, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying there.
I don't think that's inherently a problem with Oz's character. I don't even want that. Like, if you could watch just the Batman and at the end go, "Oh, Oz, he's gonna take over," then in the Batman 2, he's taken over, and
He's
it's
taken over,
really
yeah.
natural. Like it was. I think that's great, but where I think potentially the show doesn't feel inconsequential is if we bring Sophia back. If Sophia is in the Batman 2, then like that, then your potential worry, it's like, well, that clearly wasn't the reasoning. You know what I mean? Like if she
Even
is in that
then,
movie,
you could like quickly establish who Sophia is for people who haven't seen the Penguin
Yeah,
in
you
that
already got
movie.
an in with her because her dad was such a big part of the first one. Um, all you'd have to say is, "Oh, she was in Arkham." You still wouldn't have needed to watch the show.
But I also don't think that renders the show pointless,
right? And I
because
think you
it's
could have
still a
said
great
the same
show.
about Vic.
I mean, it is
Like if he
Yeah.
was in this,
as much as I can understand wanting everything to be individual, I would like to see somebody try something where it pays off. Like if I've watched 8 hours of television, it would pay off to go into the sequel. Like, oh, I know these characters and I've been with them. But the only
I think it's
characters
already
are
accomplished.
like
That.
2 characters are going to move on at best.
I don't. For me, that's not an issue.
I think he's just trying to create a universe where you can watch everything, and then your experience will be enriched by viewing every piece, but also make it accessible for people who don't want to do that. Which I think is a pretty good goal. We'll see if it pays off.
You can't feel the same way about Oz at the end of the show if as opposed to just watching him in the movie. Because in the movie, he was a standout. He was a fan favorite. He was funny. He was really entertaining. We weren't threatened by him. Nobody was like, "Oh, Colin Farrell's Oz. He's so scary," or "Oh God, he's so evil." Like, no, he's kind of the comic relief of that movie.
Yeah,
but he was really entertaining to watch, and it was like, oh shit, they're setting him up to kind of take over Carmine's spot. Like they went from turning kind of a fan favorite, entertaining, fun bad guy to watch to now I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
Like, now he's a monster who I understand and despise. And for me, that's enough.
My first thought at the end of the scene where he kills Vic is like, I was like, I hope Batman fucking beats the shit out of this guy in the next movie.
I'm really curious because we already know he's going to be in 2 and 3, so that tells me that Reeves already has plans for the third movie, at least like an inkling.
Yeah, we're
What do you guys think? Is this setting the seeds for him running for mayor later on?
Yes, I was so happy we did that.
I legit think that could happen in the second or third.
I would
movie.
love that.
So, will for sure, my prediction, this is me seeing the future, and this is on tape, so you'll see how wrong I am, is that he's gonna be in the Batman 2, again, kind of a supporting villain. He's taking Carmine's spot, essentially. And then a season 2 of this show will be after the Batman 2. That will be the Penguin runs for mayor season. And then the last thing we'll see him in is the Batman 3, where he is the mayor. And that's the end of this whole crime saga. That's how I'm foreseeing this thing going. If we make a Penguin season 2, that's when we see him run for mayor, and then he's just the mayor in the third movie. That's where I think we're going.
Penguin is that perfect reoccurring character where you can tell these minor side stories.
Even in the Arkham games, like, he's not super three-dimensional or whatever, but it was that reliable recurring villain who's kind of always handled well.
Yeah.
Like Arkham Knight's very disappointing, but no one's like, oh, they fucked up the Penguin. You know what I mean? Like, he's always used well in those.
Yeah.
Noah, anything else you want to talk about with the finale, or?
Well, I guess to circle back to the Vic scene, I thought that scene was really powerful and really well acted, both from Colin Farrell and
because it's about family.
Because it's about family, and Renzi Felice, who plays Vic, also very not as talked about as much as Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti. I think those are like the two actors that everyone's heaping praise on, but he's really good too. He's, I think, kind of underrated in conversations about this show. Vic was a good character, but I thought it was a good scene, but I am a little. I'll admit I'm a little shaky on the motivation for killing Vic. I get that what he says is that family, it's like the thing that keeps you grounded, and the thing that makes you strong, but it also makes you weak. So I guess that's his justification for killing him. But I don't know. I feel like there might have been, or there had to have been another reason. Like, I know that he failed in protecting his mom. But, that's the thing, is his mom kind of betrayed him in this episode, and he's still keeping her alive. Although that's also probably a fate worse than death, too.
Yeah.
What happens with his mom. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I think it made sense, but for some reason I was also like, I think there needs to be a little bit more for why he decides to just strangle Vic there. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that.
I'm glad you brought that up. The scene's really hard to watch, and it's really effective. The only thing I'm unsure about, like I think there's like 3 different reasons why he does it, and maybe it's a combination of all 3, and I'm just not sure. Because I'm with you, where if the idea is, well, my lesson, my takeaway is that family makes you weak, and I need to snuff that out and not like look at what just happened with his mom for the last couple episodes and how that almost got him killed. But if that's his justification, then why is he still keeping his mom alive?
Right.
That feels inconsistent, and I don't love that. But the other potential reason for why he kills Vic is, look at all the fucking lieutenants who just killed the guys in charge and what he's spurred on. And in Oz's mind, I think a factor is like, well, how long is it until Vic turns on me and grabs her power? Now, we know Vic wouldn't do that, but Oz is so far gone and so paranoid and only cares about himself that I think that's a factor. Certainly, I just wish I was more at the forefront. And you know, and the other way he justifies it is, well, now he has his eyes set on politics, and there's
Mhm.
not a space in that for Vic. Vic to him has outlived his usefulness, and again, we would disagree because we think Vic has more than earned his loyalty, and that's the type of loyalty you can't buy. But I don't think Oz believes that loyalty even exists. I think in his head, it's, well, no, this guy served his purpose. He helped me as much as he could. Now I need to get that out of the way.
Yeah, but I
Kill.
don't
So,
even,
like I said, I don't. I'm not sure if it's one of those things or a combination of all that. That's what I'm unsure of.
yeah. When I thought about that too, but the explanation of Vic serving his purpose, and so he doesn't need him anymore, almost doesn't make complete sense to me, because I do get the feeling that he did actually care for Vic.
Mhm.
I think he actually does love him, and I think Vic, of course, comes to love Oz, and he says that he sees him as family. Like, oh my god, that scene is so heartbreaking. um, but yeah, it is. It doesn't really track with, like you said, how he's keeping his mom alive. So that was just the thing that was a little confusing to me. I
I never
guess
minded that
maybe,
because he does have a kind of a double standard for his mom. Like
Sure.
we've established that there's almost an obsession there.
Mhm.
Um,
yeah,
An
whereas
assumption he isn't for anybody else.
anybody else. So Vic, yes, is family and can be used against him the same way as his mom, but he doesn't allow his mom himself to look at his mom like that as
Mhm.
a potential
And
weakness.
we're talking about a guy who let his brothers die. Once you
yeah,
do that, he's known
yeah,
Vic for a month. You know what I mean? It's not that much of a stretch if you take a step back from it. Like, this show has shown over and over again that Oz is a backstabber, he's a manipulator, he only cares about himself and his mom to a creepy, obsessive degree, and will constantly say, I care about the downtrodden. I want to stick it to those
yeah,
people upstairs. Like, I'm a man of the people, and he has shown over and over again that he is not. He doesn't care.
yeah,
I agree that on some level he did grow to respect and care about Vic, but it also, again, feels like part of his motivation was, oh fuck, I'm getting too close to him. I have to kill him so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
yeah,
That again, just part of his justification of him. No, I'm killing him because I like him. Like John was always predicting, saying like, no, that's going to be him, silencing the last bit of his humanity, of him literally killing his own soul. Of nope, we're getting too close.
To
This has to end.
to bring it to Smallville for a moment, if I may.
okay.
There is a scene, I think in season 7, where Lex pushes an imaginary child Lex into the fire, and that is very much him
Oh,
killing off the last bit of his humanity. Robert, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And the Vic thing reminded me a lot of that because that is the last moment where Lex has to choose: do I embrace this path or do I try to get back on the right path? And I think there's a
yeah,
parallel
okay.
between these two scenes. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I just didn't bring up Smallville for the
Mhm.
hell of it. Fuck you.
This was your excuse to talk about Smallville for a few seconds. Okay, John. No, yeah, I guess the idea is also supposed to be like he only has so much love that he can express towards one thing, so he's putting all of that towards his mom, even after his mom almost killed him and stabbed him,
Mhm.
and says that she hates him, wishes that he let Rex kill him. He's still, because he's a completely selfish character, he's gonna keep her alive, no matter, just to feed his own selfishness. It's to serve him more than to serve
Mm.
her.
I also want to talk about Rex for a minute because he also gets that bombshell dropped on him. This guy he grew up idolizing and putting on
Yeah,
a pedestal was gonna fucking kill him.
yeah,
And one thing that's kept ambiguous or up for interpretation is how Oz even deals with that information. because the obvious thing is, oh fuck, well that's now just shattered him that this guy he looked up to was gonna fucking kill him. Like that sucks. But I think the more twisted way of looking at it, and the way I'm looking at it now, again with the Vic of it all, is, oh well, Rex is gonna kill him, but of course, like that's what he like. I don't I a part of me wonder if there is a part of him in that Vic scene of thinking, well, this is what Rex would do, and I still looked up to him for some fucking reason.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Like I don't know. That's just the dark, twisted way of looking at it. Is like that he may even still. I don't know. This is just speculation, but maybe he still respects him after that. Okay.
I think that is valid because the two most important people in his life conspired to kill him.
Yep.
And that doesn't faze him at all. Like he still loves his mom.
Yep.
So he takes that information and I guess just decides to do what he thinks is the best thing to do in that scenario.
Yep. What would Rex do?
What would Rex do?
And like we were talking about earlier with his mom, it's creepy, it's obsessive, and the ending is so tragic because we have all been saying for this entire show, at some point his mom is gonna die, and they subverted our expectations. It didn't. The one character we were all sure was gonna die, it didn't. But again, got a fate way worse than death.
Same with Sophia. Yeah, I think most people thought she was gonna die.
I was right about Sal, and I'm sad I was right, but we got that one. Sal did die.
It's kind of funny because near the end of the show, I was thinking, so like, is he gonna be the only major character that survives this? Because I think the other characters, there's a pretty good chance that they all could die, and fortunately, that's not really what happened.
Mm-hmm. And again, it just shows with his psychosis, like he doesn't love his mom, or maybe he used to, but like not really. He has left her. He didn't do what she asked him to do a couple episodes, which was, hey, if I become a vegetable, kill me, put me out of my misery, and he won't do that.
He won't do that.
In a really creepy way. It's like, yeah, and what we got was kind of way worse, and in a twisted way, the best case scenario for him, because his mom gets to be alive, but a broken shell that doesn't get to yell at him or have any agency or do anything. It's just the idea of his mom is alive, which he then gets to live through his girlfriend, basically role-playing as her, as his fantasy version, who gives him the love and affection he's always... Have I mentioned this is really fucked up?
That's really
and sad.
That impression.
No, so Oz does not love his mother in a normal way. It's very, very clear. But I think the idea...
minor Oedipal complex.
Minor, yeah. Just a little bit. But I think the idea is supposed to be he needs love more than he can give love. He wants he wants love, a bunch of love to himself, and he does not want to give any back to anyone. Even, specifically his mother. The humane thing to do in this situation, I think, would be, to help her die. And it's something they've talked about before, and it was getting to that point with her dementia. But because, like Sophia says in the episode, Oz doesn't really care about her. He only cares about what she means to her. So he's going to keep her alive because he loves, the idea of receiving love from the maternal figure that he represents. God, this is so weird and creepy.
And in that interrogation scene with Sophia, like, he still doesn't crack. He still doesn't admit what he did because he can't have his mom know that and be disappointed in him. It's really sad.
Even when she says that she knows what happened, he's still like... And
tries to kill him.
Yeah, and tries to kill him. He's just still like, oh, Ma, you don't know what you're talking about. You're off your meds. So it's like, it's almost something that he doesn't want to acknowledge to himself. Like, saying it out loud would be acknowledging it.
And I will say one thing I was right about was, and at the end of 7, I was like, oh fuck, I don't know, was that Sophia still ultimately doesn't kill his mom, because I just didn't think that tracked for her character. And what I love about that interrogation scene, again, it gets really brutal when they're trying to cut off her finger, but the way she plays it, like that look on her face, you could tell like she was expecting Oz to crack and was surprised when he doesn't. Because she has that look on her face, like, you're gonna let me cut off her fucking finger. This is not how I saw this going. The way she plays that is so good, where she's just confused. She's like, "That I thought this would make you crack. I thought this would do it." And
I was expecting him to crack as well. I honestly kept getting surprised on like how deep Oz sinks every episode. Like, just when you thought, when you knew how much of a piece of shit he is, he'll prove you wrong and to show you that he's more of a piece of shit.
Yep.
Okay, so we're nearing an hour, so let's move into final thoughts. Robert, final thoughts about these last 2 episodes.
They're really good. The finale does end on a really strong note. I'm with you that it's a little disappointing that the Batman never shows up, but it's fine. He just should have been mentioned more. Just could have used a couple more. Just like when Oz is starting his drug operation, some character should say, "Hey, you think the Batman's gonna find us? Or you think the Bat's gonna find us?" No, he's got other shit to worry about. Just little exchanges like that, just little mentions. And then the bomb, which your criticism was you thought that was too big. I think that's fine if there's just a throwaway line about, oh, the Batman's like helping survivors, because he doesn't know where Oz is. He doesn't know what Sophia's doing.
Shine that fucking light in the sky some more. As far as I can tell, it didn't light up until the finale.
It's hard to say, but that final shot is so good. I think the payoff is worth it. I think holding off on the bat signal is worth it for that final shot, because Oz thinks he got everything he wants. It's a happy ending for him. His mom's alive. He got everything he wants, and then boom, there's the bat signal. Like, that's a really terrific final shot. So I loved how that played out.
I mean, it is, but what, if they just left it there sitting for months and not shined it once?
Yeah, I never saw it. Or they were busy. That
I mean, if I don't see it on screen, then to me, until I'm told otherwise, it didn't happen.
I mean, the city was flooded. Maybe Gordon couldn't get to it. We don't know what the state of that building was.
I love the idea because John just said that he thinks like, oh, so the Batman just is like sitting at home the whole time
watching his nights.
Unless it is stated otherwise, I don't know what Batman was up to.
I mean, Matt Reeves just said in a recent, what I've always been saying is he's just busy. There's a lot of shit going on.
Okay, but if it didn't happen in the show, then it doesn't happen.
But we'll see what.
I don't think every interview that Matt Reeves has taken.
I'm waiting to see until the Batman
made in the show.
I don't think we have time for this discussion.
We'll see what the Batman 2 looks like. I'm fine with that. Again, I think he should have been mentioned more in the show, but I agree. That's my only nitpick. But I thought the finale was great.
Final thoughts. I love the show. It's maybe my favorite live-action DC show that I've seen. It's really good. Peacemaker's great too, but this is more my type of thing.
Is the best Batman show.
Well, and not to praise this show by bringing down another show, but this is basically Gotham but good. It's a gritty crime drama like that show, except the thing that this does and Gotham doesn't do is that it has characters whose motivations and decisions and arcs actually make sense. And
whoa.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Sophia Falcone is a more fleshed out and consistent character than Barbara in Gotham season 1? Is that what you're trying to sell me?
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I wish she was more like Barbara.
Why would you just mention? Oh, so you're saying that this Sophia is more fleshed out, well written than Sophia in Gotham?
I never saw that Sophia. I can't compare it to that Sophia. No, because Barbara's the character who goes off the rails.
She's the character who goes crazy.
Yeah, main villain for some
reason. Becomes good.
I do hope in the Batman 2 or something like that we just see Sophia's become the leader of the League of Shadows.
Yeah, she is the League of Shadows.
She is the League. No, I love the show. I thought these last 2 episodes were fantastic. Great acting all around. Great, like I was talking about, great writing. Everything, every choice that every character makes is rooted in their what they would actually do. It stays true to the character. It's all very organic, and everything tracks. And I just love the vibe of the show. You know, very much continuing from the vibe of the Batman, that dark, gritty atmosphere, and that like kind of noir style of filmmaking and dark lighting. A lot of use of shadow. The score is great too, by Michael Giacchino's son. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's a great score. Yeah, all around, just damn good show, and I'll be rewatching it many times in the future.
Yeah, I buy this on physical media.
Hopefully, it gets a 4K.
I read that it was. I don't know for sure.
I hope it does, but I don't know. It's never a done deal with HBO shows.
What's up, Robert?
Well, I mean, I like shows like House of the Dragon. They put out on both 4K and Blu-ray, so I think we're good. But is Succession one that they've never put out in 4K?
No, so Succession got a DVD complete series release and not a Blu-ray.
Damn.
Not even a Blu-ray.
Come on.
Yeah.
So
come on,
it
HBO.
looks like the Penguin does have a 4K like listing on Blu-ray.
Okay. This one I think they would, since it's got.
You can stream it on 4K on Max. I just hope it's on physical.
My final thoughts of the show is pretty good. I'm not a crime guy, so that doesn't get any bonus points. But we finally got a Penguin that's not embarrassing. We got Sophia Falcone is one of the best like comic book movie villains or Batman movie villains. Show great performances, great writing. It's pretty good.
Hell yeah.
I heard that.
Heard what?
When I said that we finally had a Penguin that wasn't embarrassing.
That hurt me inside.
They're all great in different ways.
They're all great. Hey, we got to play before we go. We got to play the IGN game, right?
We do. The Penguin episode 7 IGN.
Because I specifically did not look at the scores for these episodes because I knew we were going to do
Robert
this.
Probably did. He's a cheating bastard.
Nope.
You bastard.
What is your guess?
Okay, so episode 7, I can see them complaining that it's like a lot of setup. Well, actually, no, because you get the big revelation in that episode. So I don't know. Maybe that was more of a positive rating. I'm gonna say they gave it either a 7 or an 8.
Robert?
I think they gave episode 7 a 6.
Robert, did you look it up?
Nope.
They gave it a 6 out of 10.
What?
I can believe it.
Outside of a few exciting moments towards the end, Top Hat doesn't contribute much to the Penguin's plot or its characters. It's an episode that ends in essentially the same place it started.
What are you talking about?
Remember when that bomb went off in the first scene and then that bomb went off in the last scene? Same place.
Yeah, learning that Penguin killed his brothers, that doesn't really add much to the characters.
So Sophia wanting to leave Gotham and burn her whole criminal empire to the ground. No.
Enough that boring character stuff. All right, should I guess for the finale?
Robert, you start this time with the finale.
Well, if they gave 7 a 6, I'm guessing that they give the finale a 7. I think they were marginally more positive on it. That's my prediction.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with 8 just because it's the finale and there's more exciting things that happen in that episode.
It's a 7 out of 10.
God damn it.
A somewhat messy but ultimate thrilling finale of The Penguin tops off Oswald Cobb's origin story with a mix of thoughtful introspection and tantalizing fan service. Is this an origin story?
No. It's not an origin story.
It was the origin story for the top.
It's the origin for his mayoral campaign.
All right, so we're gonna do one last guest. IGN. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but so there is a separate review for the whole show that came out before the episode started airing. Robert, what do you think this other reviewer gave The Penguin overall?
I think they gave the whole show a 5. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I think it was
That's
a 5. Because I've seen the review for the whole show.
Yeah. The Penguin puts Colin Farrell back in the Batman's transformative makeup, but it fails to build a compelling mob drama around it.
All right.
What?
Now, if I remember correctly, that whole review was just, oh, this isn't The Sopranos. This isn't The Godfather. This isn't Goodfellas.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, yes, those are all things.
IGN.
All right. As we stated at the beginning, this is going to be our last video on this channel for a while, but catch us over on Haven of Horror. Gents, it's been an honor. I'm glad that this show exists. Anything else you want to say before we sign off? Don't everybody speak up at once.
Always remember to wear your top hats.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great night.